guys, Coach Penny, bigbenchas.com. So, you want to start pulling sumo? I know what you guys are thinking. Coach Ben, aren't you gonna show us something on the bench? What's going on here? Are you about to backbench? Yes, my friend, you are correct. I am about to show you guys how to sumo deadlift here on Big Benches. I am also a full powerlifting coach, squat, bench, deadlift. That's never ever left. I've just always shown bench content. So here it is. I'm gonna show you guys how to sumo. So these are some of the common issues I've seen with my athletes across the 11 plus years that I've been doing this. When someone transitions into sumo for the first time, they often do it because, wow, my back feels so much better, I feel stronger. That is until typically you get into that higher intensity threshold. We're talking 85+%, 90+%, and then sumo hits you like a ton of bricks. And now you're second guessing, should I go back to conventional? My back feels so much better. Why can't I just get stronger at this? Well, that's what I'm gonna help you out with here today, okay? So these are the common issues here when we're getting into sumo for the first time. I find most lifters are gonna try to pull sumo in a conventional way. That's just the nature of it, right? Because this is gonna be foreign to you for the first time. So one of the big things as well is when you're getting to the sumo, you think, all right, wide stance. Well, the wider I go, the less I have to drop down to the bar. Feels pretty good. I'm lifting weight, let's go with it. Don't just throw your feet out as wide as you can, because that's probably the biggest mistake is someone gets super, super wide. And what you're already gonna have a hard time doing is opening up through the hips and controlling that action, that torque through the ground in order to create your position and actually hold it. You're not gonna be very strong doing that, so you're probably gonna find, even if you can properly externally rotate and get the hips open to the bar, that you're gonna have a hard time maintaining it and you're gonna collapse as you're pulling. You're gonna see the knees shoot in, okay? We don't wanna make that worse by going to a stance that we have no business controlling, especially if we're transitioning. You've done all this pulling for the first time here, and now you're gonna try to go all the way out here. It's not gonna work, okay? So make sure when you get down into the sumo position that you still are able to keep your knees over your ankles. That's where I want someone to start. That's gonna look different for everyone. So if I was super, super wide, toes to the plates, all right, and I'm getting to about here, that might be a strategy for an advanced lifter to utilize eventually if they're playing a leverage game. But starting out, I wanna see a stacked position. And if that's in pretty close for you and it's more of a frog stance sumo, and you can maintain good stacked position, go for it, okay? That's what we wanna see. Now, coming back to it, the biggest default that I'm gonna see, and this is why I say you're pulling your sumo conventionally, you're pretty much doing a conventional pull in a sumo stance, because you're gonna start either sitting too low and then you end up defaulting in and pulling pretty stiff-legged anyways because your hips shoot up first, or what's usually happening is maybe you're very toes forward here. You're already having that tendency to allow your knees to collapse, and you end up using your back anyway to pull the weight. And you'll see that external rotation that we should be creating collapses, or we have a hard time because we're so wide, even getting a good stack position. So we just end up using our back anyway. But because of the leverages of the lift, our lower back doesn't feel like it's getting beat up as much. So if you had issues with your back when you were pulling conventionally, you're still skating around that enough that it feels good. But you're not gonna be able to lift any substantial weight that way. A couple things that I like to introduce if I have someone doing sumo for the first time. There's this drill right here, which is actually a really great strengthening drill at first. Now we're actually just gonna step in these bands. I have it anchored to my bench right now, but you can anchor it to whatever. Now I would probably have a dumbbell here. I would get into the sumo stance I want to use. Again, not going too wide. I would reach down to the dumbbell and I would just do dumbbell RDLs or just a sumo deadlift with the dumbbell, okay? And what I'm doing, especially spending time in this bottom position, if I get down here, what do the bands want to do? Pull me forward. What's the action that we want to do? Oppose the bands, open up to the bar, okay? So just being in the bottom of my sumo position and doing this is lighting me up. I feel my glutes working here. I'm shaking. I have to reinforce rooting through the floor with my feet. So just this right here is a tremendous strength in the exercise. And I can always get into heavier and heavier band tension as well. So this is a great place to start. Once you do some of that, next, I would do some pause deadlifting. Do some tempo work or pause deadlifting. This is a staple to our programming. And by the way, if you're looking for a really solid, full power program, squat, bench, deadlift, jump into our membership plan. In the description below, we have a ton of programs in there and we'll also coach you on your form. I would do paused and tempo work. Both are gonna help you reinforce positioning. So I'm gonna get into a comfortable stance for me. Again, don't go too wide at first. Toes rotated out slightly. This is really gonna depend on your hip anatomy. Are you more retroverted, anteverted? Where do you feel comfortable? Are you able to actually create that torque still, or do you place your feet so wide? The further out that you angle your toes, the harder that becomes. All right, the more forward you have your toes, it wants to internally rotate you in, but you have more ability to create torque. So you want to just strike a nice balance at first, but I am going to work on doing that exact motion we just did with the bands. Externally rotate, open to the bar, hips to the bar. I'm gonna hold that. I can finish the lift. When I come down, I'm thinking the same things. Externally rotate. I'm gonna load that. Boom, okay? So that's how I'd approach getting into sumo. And keep in mind, you can't load too heavy at first, or you're gonna default into compensating. Your body's gonna do whatever it needs to do to lift the weight. We don't want that. We wanna reinforce positioning and actually using the correct muscle groups versus our defaults. So we're gonna have to keep it ridiculously light. Yes, it is going to feel rather light, but if, again, you add too much weight, we're not actually strengthening things we need to strengthen. So that's key. Keep it light. Pause work, tempo work. Sumo might be the greatest long-term option for you, but you have to build it up accordingly, or you're always just going to end up pulling sumo conventionally. There you have it, guys. Coach Ben here. And despite me being on the deadlift bar, you can find me on a bench.